Perhaps you felt restless in the past few days, as if something was moving silently inside you. The universe notices this agitation and wants to deliver a message to you that is neither common nor light. It is profound. It is a connection that resists time, silence, and even doubts. Get ready to look with different eyes at what you thought you already knew. There is a moment when absence begins to speak louder than any words. That's exactly where you and that person are right now. There are no fights or explanations. Just a thick silence that leaves room for assumptions, distortions, and misunderstandings. The universe closely observes this distance, and everything indicates that it did not arise by chance. Deep down, this silent separation seems to be following an invisible script. Both were guided, albeit unconsciously, towards this separation. And it's not because there is no longer any feeling, but because there was something misaligned in the way this connection was being conducted. Something needed to be paused, rethought, realigned. During this interval, a curious phenomenon began to occur. The image that each one has of the other began to change. But this change does not reflect reality. It's as if they were both looking into a fogged mirror, each projecting their fears, doubts, and unhealed wounds onto the other's figure. And this has created a barrier that grows stronger the longer the silence drags on. The universe warns that this misunderstanding is not light. It's distorting what has always been clear between you. Before there was an easy attunement, a mutual reading of almost telepathic energy. Now, the field seems fraught with noise and false interpretations, but none of it is definitive. It is being allowed to happen to bring to light truths that have been neglected. There is something essential that needs to be understood. Not everything you are feeling right now corresponds to the truth of the bond between you. Some of the more recent perceptions have been formed based on assumptions and open wounds, not on actual facts. The separation created space for the mind to construct narratives that do not reflect what is actually happening inside the hearts. This is an intense connection, marked by moments when everything seemed to make sense. That is why this period of coldness and confusion causes so much strangeness. You are at a point where absence has become a mirror. And looking at this reflection, they both began to see themselves in the wrong way, based more on what they fear than on what they really feel. Still, the universe sends signals. Signs that are felt, sensed. Something insists on reminding you of what was experienced, of the intensity, of the silent exchange that said much more than any conversation. And even without contact, there is a constant mutual presence in the energy field. This is happening for a reason. There is something that needs to be awakened in both of them. There is an urgency, yes, but not to run to the other person and resolve everything immediately. The urgency lies in the recognition that this connection is being shaped, touched by something greater, that each doubt, each concern is serving a greater purpose of healing, maturation, and expansion. Perhaps what is most frightening now is the fact that everything is so confusing that it seems like there is no way out. But the universe, of course, is not the end. It is a cycle of transition. Something is about to change, not by imposition, but by natural alignment of the forces that involve this connection. You may not know exactly how the other person feels right now. You may even think that she has moved on, that she has forgotten you, but what the universe reveals is that she feels and feels deeply. The difference is that maybe you're trying to pretend you don't feel it, pretending so well that for a while you even believed it. But the soul does not lie. This pretense has a cost. The disconnection from one's own feelings begins to affect all aspects of that person's life. The discomfort spreads, the energy feels heavy, because it is not possible to hide from yourself what you feel for a long time without the body and heart reacting. This is exactly why the universe is intervening now, not to force a reunion, but to rebalance what has been distorted. Something is about to happen, something neither of them can ignore. An unexpected event that will break the cycle of doubt and bring to the surface what has been suppressed. Distance can be strategic, but it is not always conscious. Sometimes a person pulls away not because they no longer feel, but because they are trying to escape what they feel. And that's where the situation starts to take a complicated turn. Those who try to escape their own hearts end up stumbling upon all the truths they avoided facing. That's what's happening now. That person who seems so distant is not disconnected from you, they are actually disconnected from themselves. There is a clear attempt to look good, to show that he has moved on, but this is just appearance. Internally, the confusion is intense. She is fighting what she feels, trying to erase or disguise something that refuses to go away. The universe sees this clearly. This person is pretending that everything is okay, that they don't miss it, that it doesn't matter anymore. But her soul doesn't cooperate with this disguise. There is a growing discomfort, a feeling of living a lie. And it's not just uncomfortable, it's emotionally draining. It's like trying to hold up a facade that can no longer hold up on its own. You, on the other hand, feel everything and feel it much more intensely than you would like. Your sensitivity alerts you even when you try to ignore it. You know when this person thinks about you, you know when they try to act as if nothing happened, and even more so, you know that this is costing them dearly. This game of appearance and resistance has caused deep wear and tear, and the universe is no longer allowing this to continue indefinitely. There's a limit to how much you can pretend something so strong never existed. When a bond has such deep roots, no matter how much you try to stifle it, it remains there silently, pulsing deep in your chest. To the person pretending, everything seems to be under control until something happens, a dream, a sign, an unexpected memory. And then the mask starts to crack. Emotions come to the surface without asking permission. And with them also comes clarity, a clarity that is difficult to face because it reveals everything that has been denied until now. This is where this person finds themselves. She is in conflict. Part of her wants to tell you everything, open her heart, tell what she felt, what she feels, and why she walked away. But there is fear. Fear of not being understood. Fear of having lost space. Fear of being rejected for taking too long to admit the obvious. Still, the urge to reach out to you is real. Even though she doesn't say it with words, she has tried to communicate in other ways. It can be in dreams, in synchronicities, in small symbolic gestures. You notice it, you feel that there is something being transmitted on the subtle plane. And it's not by chance. The universe is using every possible channel to get this message to you. There is a silent recognition coming from this person. She knows you see beyond the surface. She knows that you see what she tries to hide and that, while it scares her, also comforts her, because deep down she always felt that you would be able to understand, even when everything seems confusing, even when actions do not correspond to emotions. But this understanding that you have does not lessen the pain. Knowing that the other person feels but doesn't act hurts. And it is precisely this pain that is now making you wonder whether it is worth continuing to be connected to this story. You have already given so much time, energy, love. And now you wonder whether you should continue or whether it's time to protect yourself. This breaking point is important. It's not about giving up, it's about redefining. The universe knows you are exhausted from waiting for something that does not manifest clearly, and for that very reason, it is about to intervene. There is a movement underway that will dismantle this illusion sustained by fear, pride, and silence. Get ready, because something is about to be revealed, not superficially, but deeply, as if this person's soul could no longer bear to hide the truth. This doesn't mean it will be easy, but it will be necessary. Part of healing this connection depends precisely on exposing the truth. As uncomfortable as it may be, this person is about to realize that they can no longer pretend, that resisting what they feel does not protect them, it imprisons them. And you, in turn, will be asked to decide what to do with all this. The universe will bring together what has been experienced and what can still be transformed. And at that moment, neither of them will be able to hide behind silence any longer. It is difficult to accept that someone can love deeply and still choose silence. It seems contradictory, almost cruel, but the truth, seen from a higher point of view, reveals that love is often frightening, especially when it demands transformation. And that is exactly what this connection has provoked since the beginning: internal changes, deconstructions, revelations. That person hasn't forgotten you, hasn't stopped feeling. On the contrary, the more you try to block what you feel, the more the energy of connection insists on appearing. It happens at the most unexpected moments, when listening to a song, when crossing a familiar place, when remembering a phrase you said. Every simple detail awakens a memory that can no longer be erased. But there is an internal conflict that dominates everything. Because while a part of her wants to surrender to the truth of that feeling, another part fights to maintain control. This silent battle has been generating fatigue, demotivation, and even impulsive reactions. You may not see it from the outside, but the universe reveals it. Inside, this person is falling apart, and there is a very clear reason for this. She knows that deep down you are still connected. Even though you are physically separated, there is a connection that has not been broken. And that, in itself, is already something difficult to explain rationally. That's why this person lives between extremes. Sometimes he tries to convince himself that he has moved on. Sometimes he feels your absence as if he had lost a part of himself. There is something that is about to break, an internal cycle, an old blockage. The universe is working on this person, making them see not only what they feel, but also how they have dealt with it. She is being confronted with her own truth, and what once seemed like a choice, hiding, pushing away, pretending, now begins to weigh like a burden. In this process, she may seem increasingly distant, but this is not indifference, it is resistance. A resistance that gradually gives way, because what is real always finds a way to emerge. And the universe is precisely creating the circumstances for this to happen in an authentic, inevitable, revealing way. You also feel this movement. No matter how much you try to focus on other things, something insists on pulling you back to that connection. Sometimes you wonder if you're imagining all this, if it wouldn't be easier to just forget about it. But the truth is that it is not imagination. You are clearly picking up on this person's emotional waves. You are feeling the vibration of her soul, even without having any news. This happens because there is a spiritual preparation taking place. Both are being worked on from the inside out. And even if you are not communicating on the physical plane, the field between you remains active, vibrant, full of messages, sometimes subtle, sometimes intense, but always present. This person, even if they don't admit it, is constantly being reminded of you. And they are not common memories. They are strong, repetitive signs, situations that make you reflect on everything that was experienced, on what could have been different, and on what can still be. This is affecting her in a way that she may not even be able to express in words, but the universe feels it, and so do you in some way. The most curious thing is that, despite all this internal struggle, this person wants you to know how important you are. Maybe I can't say it clearly yet, but there is a deep need to be understood, to be sure that you see beyond the confusing behavior, beyond the withdrawal, beyond the masks. And you see, that's why you're still here feeling, waiting for a turnaround, even without certainty. Your intuition never fails. She captures what is behind every silence. And at this moment, this sensitivity is essential to keep the link active, because even without direct contact, your energy is helping this person to reconnect with what they themselves tried to deny. The universe knows this. It knows your effort to continue believing even in the face of doubt. And that's why you're about to move something that you can't control, an unexpected event, capable of breaking down resistance and bringing to light everything that had been bottled up for so long. This reunion may not happen exactly as you imagine. It may come in the form of a message, a dream, a sudden presence, but it will come, because there is a truth that needs to be told, and more than that, there is a feeling that can no longer be ignored. The time has come when this person's soul can no longer sustain the distance between what they feel and what they demonstrate. There are times when the silence becomes unbearable, and although everything seems calm on the outside, a true revolution is taking place inside. This is what the universe shows now. This person is being taken over by a feeling that he can no longer contain. Something inside you is moving strongly, begging to be heard, recognized, welcomed. She tried to move on, tried to fill the time, fill the gaps, reorganize her life as if you had never existed. But nothing worked. And it is not because there is a lack of strength, but because there is a lack of truth. Because ignoring what you feel may work for a while, but it always comes at a price. And now that price is being charged with interest of longing, of regret, of confusion. There is a resistance that still persists, the fear of judgment, of rejection, of appearing too fragile for feeling so much. But she's also beginning to realize that this internal struggle is keeping her paralyzed, far from something she deeply desires. It's as if she's caught between the desire to open up and the fear of not being understood. And you feel all of this with a precision that you can't always explain. Even without knowing what is going on in that person's life, you capture their energy as if they were right next to you. There is a silent, constant connection that seems impossible to disconnect. And that, more than any direct message, shows you that something still lives between you. The universe is preparing a scenario where it will no longer be possible to pretend. The intensity will become so evident that feelings will start to overflow in one way or another. And even if everything has seemed confusing for a long time, this emotional explosion will be the beginning of something new, more sincere, more real. It's not about going back to how it was. It's not about repeating patterns. It's about accessing a level of understanding and connection that was previously blocked by fear, ego, and lack of clarity. This person is being led to face everything they have avoided feeling, and even without doing anything directly, are contributing to this by keeping your energy aligned with love. It is also important to recognize your own process. You've been through an emotional roller coaster. Have you ever felt anger, longing, discouragement, hope? Have you ever wanted to forget? Have you wanted to run after it? Have you wanted to give up? But even through all these phases, something in you remained firm, the silent certainty that this connection had a greater meaning. The universe confirms, yes, and this certainty that you carry, even with so many doubts around, has sustained the vibration of this connection. That is why the other person feels you even from a distance. That is why, no matter how much you try to deceive yourself, every now and then you find yourself thinking about what it would be like if you could have another chance. But now that everything is clear, this person is preparing for this, even without realizing it. And perhaps you are too, because before any reconnection can happen on the physical plane, the soul must be ready to sustain what is to come. And now the universe shows that this preparation is underway, intense, silent, but real. You may have the impression that nothing is happening, but there is a deep and continuous movement. This connection is being redesigned, and for this time, this separation, this silence were necessary, not to punish, but to purify, so that the reunion, when it happens, is not a repetition of the past, but the beginning of something new and true. This person's emotions are boiling, and this instability can manifest itself in unexpected actions, a message out of place, a confused attitude, an apology without many words. The important thing is that you recognize that behind each gesture there is a heart trying to find the courage to open up. This heart that hesitates so much is the same one that vibrates every time it thinks of you. It is the same one that feels you even when it denies it. And it is the same one that will soon no longer be able to keep quiet. Because the love that has been cultivated between you does not dissolve easily. It remains, it pulses, and at the right time it will resurface. You will notice, you will know when it arrives, and there will be no need for effort. The truth will come with strength, clarity, and a feeling of now. The universe is guiding everything. Up until now, everything has happened as it should. And what is to come will require only one thing: presence. Being present in the heart and in the consciousness to live this new cycle. There is a moment when the truth needs to emerge, not to cause an impact, but to liberate. And that is exactly what is being prepared now. Everything that has been silenced, stifled, or disguised between the two of you is about to come to the surface, not as a confrontation, but as a necessary revelation, because neither of you can bear the weight of doubt any longer. That person who seemed distant, cold, or disconnected was actually trying to survive an internal turmoil. The universe shows that she is tired of pretending not to feel, tired of acting as if nothing had happened. The longing, regret, and love no longer fit inside her chest. Something needs to be said, something needs to be done. And will it? You may have felt that the connection was dormant. Maybe you even started to convince yourself that it was all in your head, but the reality is that you were never truly separated. Her soul was searching for you in silence. The universe kept you close, even when everything indicated otherwise. Now, life begins to align everything for a crucial moment, an event that cannot be ignored. It could be a conversation, a reunion, a seemingly casual situation that, deep down, will have been carefully orchestrated by the universe. And at that moment, both of you will be faced with everything you have avoided for so long. It is natural that strong emotions arise. After all, what was experienced between you is not small. But this time, the movement will not be based on fear. It will be guided by a clarity that only time and silence have been able to provide. Because now it is not about repeating what happened before. It is about reconnecting with the essence of what has always existed. This person, even without knowing how, wants to show you that they never stopped feeling, that they tried to follow another path, but that everything brought them back to you. And this will not be said with promises or pretty words. It will be felt, because the truth of the heart always finds a way to express itself, even in the simplest gestures. You have also changed, grown, become stronger, learned to recognize your own limits and to respect your own sensitivity. And it is precisely this maturity that will allow you to receive what is to come with balance, not as someone who begs for love, but as someone who knows that it has value. As someone who understands that true love does not bind, it transforms. This reunion, even if symbolic, will bring healing not only to the history between you, but to old wounds that each of you carried long before you met. Because this connection, from the beginning, had a greater purpose, and now that purpose is beginning to reveal itself more clearly. The universe does not make mistakes in encounters. Yes, there was pain. Yes, there was silence. But everything served to prepare you for the moment when you will finally be able to look at each other with the eyes of your soul. When that happens, there will be no need for many words, just presence. The truth will be felt, recognized, and, above all, welcomed. Do not expect perfection, expect truth and trust. What is being rebuilt now is much stronger than what was lost, because it is born from maturity, from conscious choice, and no longer from illusion or urgency. This person is coming back, but in a way that you may have never seen before, whole, vulnerable, real. The connection between you was not in vain, it was sacred even when it hurt, and it will continue to be. The universe confirms that this bond is protected, is being healed, and will blossom again in an unexpected, simple, and profound way. Because what is true does not end, it only transforms. Everything you felt was not in vain. This connection is being guided for something much greater. Trust what your heart knows, even when your mind doubts. The universe never fails to synchronize, and true love always finds a way back. If this story inspired you, write in the comments. This union is blessed. Share it with those who need to hear this today and subscribe to the channel to receive more messages like this. The universe has much more to show you.